Hey, Dirt Farmer Jay here from dirtfarmerjay.com. One of the things in the makerspace, the shop, that's always at a premium is space. The second is keeping your tools and supplies close to your workspace. Well, we're repurposing a rack here and it's in prototype stage. Stay tuned and I'll tell you a little bit about what we're doing and invite your input. Hey, Dirt Farmer Jay here from dirtfarmerjay.com. I love finding materials or fixtures or things that were invented for one purpose but can be repurposed for something else. Recently, my friends Jesus and Kim at their restaurant had an excess bakery rack and they gifted it to me. And I looked at this rack and said, there's gotta be a great use for this in the shop. So what you're seeing is a prototype fixture right now. Nothing's really finalized on this, but there's lots of things you can see that you can get very quickly into this rack. But there's some things that might not be so apparent. So first of all, what we did is took off the rollers that came with the rack and put a base in there with some larger ball bearing rollers along with some step pedals right here to lock it if need be. So this has got to be very mobile. Number two, we found that the standard pitch that these shelf supports, which are right there, is generally too close for the type of things that we're going to put in. So notice like here, we modified the distance, and that's pretty easy to do by drilling out a rivet and then just using a little hex bolt and nut. So you can see that's the original. This is the modified one, and that allowed us the spacing right here to put something like this, a Craig tool clamshell in there. Now, there's lots of other things we're doing right now to work to space things out so some of these tool or parts organizers go here. But this has become extremely handy, and as you can see, it's a work in process. There's temporary things. Does that fit well? Does that stick well there? One of the real important things here are these clamp racks on the side. And you can still see they're prototyped right here because they're only clamped on. But this has worked out pretty well, and I'll end up mounting them likely in those positions where I'm able to keep a lot of these handy clamps, these speed clamps, very close here. Another thing you've got to keep in mind is that you need to have access to the back as easily as you do the front. And the reason for that is that you access this rack from both sides. So sometimes you're going to pull it halfway out here and access the organizers or the parts or the inventory on that side. And other times you're going to pull it out in the front. Here's another lesson we learned. While you can use these trays that are literally purchased from a restaurant supply, aluminum on aluminum doesn't slide very well, and neither does wood over these wings. You end up having to hold it. It works pretty well, but now we're working on using some of this high slippery, high molecular tape that we're going to put in some of these areas. We might use some cutting board material to make everything slippy, and then figure out the distances in that we have to have everything to accommodate whatever the runner material is. But the concept is working beautifully. It's a long way from finished, but I make a lot of use of it right now in its prototype stage. If you've got some ideas or concepts you think might be helpful that you'd like to share with your fellow viewers or back to me, I'd love to hear it. And if you've got other things you repurpose like this to give high utility in the shop, this is something we like to hear about. Another thing that you might find interesting is this video that we produced on where you can find free organizers. They're all over the place when you buy tools, and we came up with some effective solutions for that. Check out that video. And then here's another video that we produced that we know you'll like, but YouTube thinks you're gonna love it. Hey, thanks for watching today, and we look forward to hearing your feedback on this system. Until the next time, this is Dirt Farmer Jay from dirtfarmerjay.com.